What if everything you thought you knew about duty, about what you owe to the world, was, well, just completely upside down? Today, we're going to dive into a pretty radical idea from a text that really reframes this whole concept, something I'm calling the sovereign debt of devotion. It proposes a single path to fulfilling every single obligation you've ever had. So let's just start with a really personal question. To whom are you indebted? I mean, really think about it for a second. Is it your family, your job, your community, your friends? Who or what is pulling on your sense of duty? For most of us, right, it's not just one thing. This feeling of obligation is more like this tangled web, pulling us in a million different directions all at once. And our source text actually maps this out perfectly. It suggests we're born with debts to, the spiritual realm, the demigods, to wise teachers or sages who pass down all this knowledge, to nature and all living things, to our family, to society as a whole, and even to our ancestors. I mean, wow, that is an overwhelming list, isn't it? But here's where it gets really, really interesting. The text offers a kind of radical shortcut to clearing all of this debt in one fell swoop. And that brings us to the core question here. After looking at that huge list of duties, what if there was just one path, one single focus that could satisfy all of them at once? Honestly, it sounds almost too good to be true, but this is the central claim of our source text. And boom, here it is. This is the big paradigm-shifting claim. The text says that by following this specific path, a person owes neither duties nor obligations to anyone on that entire list we just looked at. It's not just about reducing the debt, it's about completely wiping it out. What a startling idea. So the big question is, what is this path? What grants such a profound exemption? Well, the path is sincere devotion to a being called Mukunda, which the text tells us means the giver of liberation. So the very liberation being offered here is freedom from that tangled web of worldly obligations we started with. The promise is literally right there in the name. So let's see how this builds a completely new framework for how to live a life of duty. This slide just captures it perfectly. On the one hand, you've got the typical path of worldly obligation, that tangled mass of duties owed to so many different people and things. But on the other hand, you have devotional service, a single, focused, all-encompassing duty to just one. And the key thing to remember is, this isn't about, shirking your responsibilities. It's about fulfilling them in a totally new and way more efficient way. The logic is actually pretty straightforward when you break it down. Step 1, we're all born into this complex web of obligations. Step 2, a person chooses to dedicate themselves fully to this path of devotional service. And step 3, magically, all of those prior separate obligations are now considered fulfilled. It's kind of like consolidating all your debts into a single meaningful payment. But how does that actually work? Well, the answer lies in two words that are the absolute key to this entire idea. Automatically fulfilled. See, the debts aren't just forgiven or forgotten, they're actively paid. The text uses this really powerful analogy. It's like watering the root of a tree. By giving your devotion to the source, to Mukunda, you automatically nourish every single branch and leaf. And those branches and leaves represent all your other duties to family, society, and nature. It all gets taken care of. So what's the big takeaway from all this? This is a complete reframing of what both freedom and duty can even mean. And so we're left with this final thought to chew on. We usually think of freedom as being free from obligations, right? But this text completely challenges that idea. What if real, true freedom isn't found in having no duties at all, but in dedicating yourself to a single, total obligation that simplifies and satisfies everything else? It's a pretty powerful idea to consider.